Since my time at Rice, I've been just playing pro. I just retired, actually. My final year was this past year. I ended my career in Pittsburgh. We actually won the USL championship, which was pretty awesome. I scored a penalty in the final, so my dad was there, my family was there. I was like, you know what? I could retire happy. My last kick ever at the pro game was a penalty in a final. So, I broke my kneecap a year and a half ago, maybe a little. It was closer to 2 years now. Never really was the same after that. And, winning the final and scoring a pen, I was like, you know what? I don't need to have my knees be completely gone. Let's just save a little bit. I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I started touching the ball when I was 6 years old. And by the time I was 8, I was like, all right, I want to make it my career. Like, I want to play pro. Fell in love with the game. We really didn't have academy in my area until I was a junior in high school. And at that point, I was already stuck with my club team. And I was like, I'm just going to ride it out with them until I go to college. So yeah, I went to a small Division III school. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the system of how it works. So Division I's the top one, like the UCLA's, the big schools, and then Division II and Division III. Typically, Division III teams, very, very rarely are there pros that come from that division. In hindsight, it was actually a blessing for me because I was able to go there as an 18-year-old and start playing right away. A lot of my buddies who went to Division I had to wait until their sophomore, junior, senior year even sometimes to really step on the field and play competitive games. But I was, fortunate enough to go in there as a freshman and basically start right off the rip. And I got that experience of playing against, grown men. When I was an 18-year-old kid, I was still developing. I was super undersized, super slow. I grew 3 inches in college. So that's kind of my story before Rice. And then after my senior year, I was obviously looking to go pro. And I went on 4 or 5 different trials. None of them stuck. I was still developing. I could see that I wasn't at that maturity level as some of these other 22-year-olds. I was like, you know what? Let's look into other opportunities. And that's how I came across Rice. My dad has always been very supportive of me. I just graduated college, all the trials, all the seasons had already started, and I was just like, damn. And my dad came to me and he was like, hey, look, I found this program on the internet where you could go get your master's, your MBA, and you could play, in England. Read about it, and then, applied, and I got in. I actually flew to Florida to, do a little tryout, kind of, and meet the team. And I was accepted into the university, and then, I just hopped over there in August. Leeds was probably the best city to be in. Football's a religion there, like it is throughout England, but especially Leeds. It's such a hot pocket, and there's so many students, there's so many teams, so many games going on. And one of my buddies actually from college ended up going to the program as well. And so I'd say my fondest memory is just getting to know all the other people and the reason of being there. I was the best man at my friend Zane Provenzano's wedding who went there. My buddy Angelo, he is actually playing in the USL championship right now. I met there when he was 18. I was 23, 22. So it's just those relationships I met, right off the bat with all those guys. And I've stayed friends throughout all these, it's been about almost 10 years now since I've been there, 8 years. I think the biggest thing for me was it allowed me to keep playing at a good level for another year while I kept developing after college, because if you finish college and you're not playing pro, there's only summer leagues really. There's no training day in and day out teams where you could jump on in England. That's the opportunity is kind of endless over there. There's always leagues going on. There's always teams you could play on. As far as that, I had a trial through them up in Falkirk. I was there for about a month, which was great. We went to Finland, which was really cool. I think just the exposure too of culture and what it takes to really get to that highest level. You do play a lot of cool teams, you go to cool grounds. But yeah, for me, it was just giving me that extended period of time to compete at a high level. That was the biggest thing for me. I was actually training with York City for a while. Training with York was really cool. And just getting to see firsthand. It was I think they just got relegated from League 2 at the time. And so they were still coming off full-time pro. So it was really cool to be around those guys and see kind of how they go about their day and what it takes to be a pro. I actually got a trial opportunity in Denmark 2 months before my graduation. Went to Denmark on trial, and I ended up signing with the second division team over there. Unfortunately, right as preseason was ending, I blew out my knee, and I tore my patellar tendon. So I signed my first deal when I was 23, about to turn 24, 4 days later. And after that, I was like, wow, this is a shot to the gut. Moved back to the U.S., and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to play in the USL. Probably for about 3 months at my house, just training, trying to stay fit, getting ready, working on my knees some more. And an opportunity came to play for Landon Donovan actually at San Diego Loyal. So I went and I signed mid-season with them, which was really an amazing experience. Like that was the first time in my career where I was like, okay, I'm surrounded by other pros, like guys who played in USL championship for a long time, guys who played in the MLS, guys who played for the national team. Like it was a really, really cool experience and eye-opening to be like, okay, if I want to make this an actual career, like I gotta do some changing, right? And do some growing. So I signed with them mid-season at the end of the season, and I signed with Monterey Bay. That was like the team I spent the most time at. I was there for 3 years. It was an amazing experience. Like Monterey is the second home to me. You know, the coach who brought me in, Frank Yallop, he played at Ipswich. We're still talking to this day, but yeah, I mean, I played there for 3 years. I was the Golden Boot winner the first year, had a little sophomore slump. And then my third year, playing really well, and I blew out my other knee. So another year and a half injury, and then I just came back and I signed with Pitt and we won it. Hasn't been the smoothest, but it's been something that's been unforgettable, and like I wouldn't have changed it for the world. Like I was doing everything I loved. So I had a great run of playing 7 years-ish pro, which, you know, is more than a lot of people could say. So it's been a great journey. Now, obviously I wanted to stay a part of the game, right? So I do a lot of coaching, like individual training and stuff, but I'm actually studying to get my FIFA license at the end of April. So like I want to be an agent, you know, that's always kind of been my thing. That's why I went and got my master's originally. And that's what I wanted to do going into school, even into college. I've been lucky enough, my really close friend, my best friend from Monterey, started an agency, and I've been working with him, which has been just great. The biggest piece of advice I could say is just, one, enjoy it, but two is take advantage of the situation. Like, you know, you guys provide everybody with the necessary tools to make that jump. I saw a lot of kids say they wanted it and they weren't actually doing the work that they needed to do it. Ask questions, be curious, be a curious footballer. Like that's what's, you know, helped me in my career. I was never afraid to ask questions or ask for help. There wasn't a day that went by when I was in England that I didn't touch a ball. Like I was training every single day. And like, if that's what you want, you have to do that. I tell kids all the time, like my freshman year at Redlands, every single day, even in training, I was touching a ball. After training, before training, I was in the gym. It's a full-time job if you really want to make it a career. And that's kind of the mindset you have to have going into it. If you want to go in and just have fun, like, yeah, you can do that as well. But if it's something you want to really dig down, there's going to be a lot of sacrifice. And discipline is probably the biggest thing that you're going to need to learn really quick if you don't have it already.